Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Council meeting of February 16th. Please note that all council members are present except Vice Chair Blair. He will be joining us shortly, and Council Member Heyer is coming in electronically. If you want to say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I turn the time over to Councilmember Lopez.
Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you take with me a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Next on our agenda is public hearings. We have on the agenda our fiscal year 2015-2016 arts grant. And with that,
Diane Stearns will make that presentation.
Hi, thank you for hearing us. You have reviewed the transmittal and the different documents that came with the arts grants. There was an allocation of $60,000. Those have been devised or divided between the different applications that came forward. And I think that, you know, this is an allotment that has been gradually increasing, which is great because we see the benefit through the community. So we're hoping that with the resolution that you have before you, that we will be able to accept the recommendations by the subcommittee. Do you want, how much detail do we want here?
is this a new year for the application process?
We're finally into a regular cycle. So it will close, the real cycle for 16-17 closes on March 15th, but this was sort of a catch-up cycle.
And just out of curiosity, how do you get the word out about these grants?
So we have a mailing list that we send out notifications to different past grantees, different other organizations that we've been compiling a list of that might have people that would like to understand about project grants. One of the big changes for Ogden City grants is that the project grants no longer require a nonprofit status in order to apply. So this means that we have the ability to fund independent artists, a lot of whom don't have that status. And so that's what we are working on, increasing that database. But in the meantime, as I said, this was a catch-up cycle. A lot of the grant applications we received were from past recipients. There were a few new ones. We got one from Morgan Weber Health, which was pretty fabulous to just have such a different kind of applicant. And I hope that we'll see more of that as we go forward.
No, just Diane, thank you for working with us in the work sessions and helping us understand all of the grants, and your group for their hard work.
Well, you're welcome. I'm trying to understand myself.
I think you also provide training to fill out that application, don't you?
We did. So for the first time, we actually did do a professional development session for writing this particular grant application, and it was well attended. We are grateful to Goal Foundation for hosting us over at their facility because we had more people than we could fit into the 9th floor office space. And, and it went very well. And I do see that there are some new grant applications that are coming forward out of that session.
Attended that session, that
18.
training. 18 attended that session?
Yep.
Okay.
Chair White, I think it might be helpful for the record if she just wants to review the specific awards so that people that are watching can know what you're voting on.
And we can do that. So is it better for me to read through the resolution, or is it better for me to read off the transmittal?
I would just read the names of those that have been awarded.
Okay, so in the general support category, we awarded Eccles Community Arts Center $7,000, Treehouse Children's Museum $12,000, Ogden Symphony Ballet Association $5,000, Ogden Friends of Acoustic Music $17,000. Oh no, that's wrong. That's the wrong number. It's 16. Yeah, it's 16.
60.
Yep, it is. I don't know why I have that right there. Chamber Orchestra Ogden, $4,000. It was nice to see Chamber Orchestra Ogden has in the past applied for project grants. This time they had moved up through their 3-year mark on their 501c3 and were able to get general support. Love to see that kind of support for a resource like they are in our community. And the Strings Project at Weber State was awarded $2,640. In project support grants, Ogden Nature Center has 2 grant applications that were both funded, one for Earth Day, for art activities at Earth Day for $2,000, one for the birdhouse competition, also $2,000. And as I said, Weber Morgan Health Department got $500 for a mural that they're putting onto a trail. Ogden Opera Guild, $1,000, and Good Company Theater for their season, $7,000. So these are new, relatively young, some of these relatively young organizations that we have in the community, to have Good Company Theater, to have Chamber Orchestra Ogden. This is good.
Other questions? This is a public hearing, so if anyone wants to come forward.
Hey, I guess this is your chance, guys.
Good evening. I'm Michael Palumbo. I'm the music director of Chamber Orchestra Ogden. And on behalf of the orchestra board and the musicians, I want to thank you for again, providing some support for us. The orchestra is very dependent on grants and donations in order to fund the season and be able to put on what I think are quite good concerts. I encourage any of you who are interested, we are going to do our red dress concert, which is, that's us right now. We are going to do our red dress concert in collaboration with Ogden Regional Medical Center, and that's on the 27th. And it's at Union Station, and we would love to have you there. Just simply tell the person at the desk that you're with the city council, and we'll let you in, and you can hear what it is that you're helping fund. Again, thank you very much, and I'll not take any more time.
Pat Posey, Eccles Community Arts Center, Chairman White, council members, mayor. It's a pleasure to be here this evening again. And it's nice to see that Diane's getting some new people involved in the grants. And we're so fortunate to have this money to use for what we do at the Arts Center. I know that most of you have been there, and it's, it's complimentary to visit us, and we do a lot of new programs. We've been able to start a lot of new programs this year with our schools, and I think that we've reached out not only just to students, but we reach out to adults too, because adults pass this on to their children. So we try to focus on that as well as the students. But we've done really well in getting into the schools with some new projects, and we're constantly doing things to keep people involved in the arts, and it's so important. And again, the money that we receive from this, and hopefully continue to, and it will grow, is so imperative to Northern Utah for the arts. And I think that you can really see it beginning to happen again. You can see that art's becoming popular again. It's not one of those things that's not cool, because it's changing. And I think through the progress of all of us that are awarded this money, it does help us in every facet of the arts. So again, thank you, and you're all welcome to the Arts Center. And just a punch for our fundraiser is the 5th of March. It's the art auction. It's fun, and we still have tickets available. Thank you, and thanks for your donations.
Thanks, Pat.
Good evening. I'm Judy Vanderhyde, and I represent the Ogden Opera Guild. We are an all-volunteer organization, and we've been receiving project grants for the 10 years now that I've been president. So we're very, very appreciative. The first project we do is to send over 100 students and chaperones to the dress rehearsal of an opera in Salt Lake City. And they meet with other students in the area who are also all dressed up, who come from the ballet. And this is their first, obviously, their first encounter with opera. The second project we do is at Weber State, and for that we go to the Garrison Choral Room, and that event is open to the public. We bring the 4 resident artists from Utah Opera. These are the young people who are under the age of 30, who all have master's degrees, and are the only professional opera singers who come to Ogden. They do a 1-hour program, and we have older people, we have students, we have kids who come, and we would love to have you come, any of you, if you're interested. As I say, it's free and it's open to the public, and that will be on March 22 at 1:45 in the Garrison Choral Room. Again, thank you for your support. We really couldn't do it without you. We are a very small 501c3 organization, and we struggle, so we really do appreciate your help. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
My name is Lynn Goodwin, and I am with Treehouse Children's Museum here in town. And I just wanted to take a minute to commend you all for supporting the arts in Ogden. I was recently in San Diego at a conference for children's museums, and we had just been named at that time to a list of the top 25 children's museums in the nation, which was kind of fun. But one of the questions was, how come there's such a good museum in such a small town? And, you know, Ogden really isn't that small, and neither is Treehouse. We get about 170,000 visitors a year, but we are relatively small compared to other children's museums. And our response to them was, we're from a community that really puts its money behind the arts and the things that are good for the community. And I just want to thank you. You have supported the arts for a number of years, and we're just very grateful for the grants that we get from the city and the support we've had all along. Thank you.
I'm Sharon Macfarlane from the Ogden Symphony Ballet Association. Our board president said, weren't we just here? Yes, we were. So as Diane said, we're kind of squeezed in here. We still have 6 performances left on our season this year. Our season goes from September to May, or April, depending on what we're having. This year we had 20 performances, all held up at Weber State. We're on a high because we had a great entertainment series concert on Thursday. Have just had people calling, stopping me on the street saying, oh, it was so great. But why don't they know that we're here for 20 performances? So that's our goal, besides the education outreach that we do with our students, trying to get a younger audience. So thank you so much for your participation with us. We get money from foundations, individuals. That's what brings it here, besides the government grants that we get from you, from Weber State. Or not from Weber State, Weber County, the RAMP funding. So thank you so much. We appreciate it very much. We've been doing it for 65 years, and maybe somebody will be doing it for 65 more. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon.
Good evening. My name is Alicia Washington, and I am the founder and co-director of Good Company Theater. And it's very inspirational to hear another organization has been around for 65 years, being that we are in our 3rd year. So we are steadily walking forward. We have received project grant funding for the last 3 years, and as Diane spoke of, we are directly benefiting from that. We're applying for our independent 501c3, and so we are moving forward steadily, and without the support of the City Council and this funding being made available, it would be a little bit more difficult for us. Dr. Maya Angelou says, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. And I'm so thankful to live in a city that honors the arts and also supports the arts, so that creativity that's bottled up inside of our minds can get out there and we can serve a greater purpose and give back to such an amazing community. So thank you.
Thanks, Alicia.
Good evening, Mayor Caldwell and council members. Thank you. My name is Sunny Hayes, and I'm from the Weber Morgan Health Department. I would like to thank you for letting us be one of the recipients for the Ogden City Arts Grant. Behind me is the Ogden High School Art Director, Mr. Palmer, and the Art Student Body Officer, Diego Duke. Did I say that right? Okay. We are going to be partnering with them as well as Ogden Trails Network, and we do have David out. If you'd like to stand up, David. Out in the crowd. And we're actually going to have the Ogden High School paint a mural on the Bluff Trail wall that has had some graffiti on it. We're hoping to beautify this trail as well as increase foot traffic. And we're also hoping to deter future graffiti. It's been proven that if you can, they're less likely to mark or graffiti murals. And so we're hoping to beautify this trail and have it be something that someone can come out and actually enjoy the physical activity and also connect the botanical gardens as well. So thank you so much for your support.
I'd like to speak for just a minute. Ed Palmer, art teacher at Ogden High for quite a few years now, and I'm pleasantly surprised to see one of my former students sitting up there. The art, yeah. Hey, I think he won the election. I remember seeing your sign at the store.
Yeah.
But my comment is simply this, that as we educate our students, the effects are felt throughout the community and throughout their lives, and an investment in the arts sparks their creativity, gives them outlets, motivates them to do well in school, and is a service to the whole community. Even though I don't live in Ogden, although I used to live in West Weber, it's a joy to me to come over to Ogden and work with the people that I love here and have done so for years. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Michelle Tanner. And I'm Reba Nissen. We're with Ogden Friends of Acoustic Music. And I want to say welcome to new council members. And we just want to give our heartfelt appreciation for another year of support for our two Ogden music festivals, the Ogden Music Festival and the Ogden Valley Roots and Blues Festival. They're growing, and we get wonderful feedback. It's becoming traditions for families to go. They're being influenced by music, and it's a great community endeavor.
Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So some of the things we're doing, we're continuing with our kids' activities, and we're increasing those, and we have more funding for those. So kids get hands-on instrument experience at the festivals with the Drum Bus Utah and with the musical petting zoo at the Ogden Music Festival. The other one's at the Ogden Valley Roots and Blues. And they also make a music-themed kids craft, so there's a lot of hands-on stuff for youth. And kids 16 and under get in free to absolutely everything we do, which is in large part due to your support and RAMP and all the support that we get to have kids come free. And I also wanted to let you know that you're giving us general support for OFOM, not just for the festivals. So we've been able to do some other great things. We presented Paul Thorne at Peary's Egyptian Theater in January. And maybe you want to tell them about the...
And we have a new project in the works. It was the Kruger brothers and the banjo playing of Jens Kruger that inspired me to start this organization. And he's world-renowned. And He was the first concert we presented, the Kruger Brothers, and Jens will be commissioned by us to compose a concerto based on banjo music. It's going to take him a full year to compose this piece, at which time then we'll be working with Chamber Orchestra Ogden and Imagine Ballet Theater for accompaniment and original choreography for a couple of premieres, one at Peary's Egyptian Theater and one at Ogden High School in October of 2017. And from there, it will be produced like about 4 different concertos that Jens has developed across the world. So we're really excited about that, to showcase our rich history as a train town and mountain town. And it's just another great way that brings the combination of arts and recreation that we're building on, brings it up.
And I guess that's what's so exciting, is that the theme of it will be Ogden and celebrating Ogden. And so creating something new with all these other folks in town is exciting to us. So thank you for your support.
And that's in addition to our 2 festivals that we will be nurturing along. And okay, we're done. Thank you.
I would just like to add, I mean, you can see how much is going on in our community, what the funding that you have provided and allocated means to the different organizations that are participating. This isn't all of them, and I am grateful. So I'm recommending you just go ahead and take the resolution.
All right, thanks.
Are you making a motion?
No.
Okay.
Good evening, folks. My name is Fred Galvez. I live at 4763 Glassman Way in Ogden. I built my home there in 1979. House number 3. Now there's probably 500 homes around me. Anyway, my point is...
Mr. Galvez, is this for the annexation? If you wait just a minute.
Surely.
Yep. Just let us get through this one and...
Perfect.
Thanks. Don't go far.
Chair White, if you're ready for a motion, make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution.
We have to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing first. All right. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
On the arts, yes.
On the arts.
On the arts grants.
Second.
Second.
So we have we're going to close it by Councilmember Nadolski, second by Vice Chair Blair, to close the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now,
Thank you, Chair White. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2016-4 as presented.
I second it.
I have a motion by Councilmember Nadolski, second by Councilmember Lopez, to adopt proposed resolution 2016-4. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Garner.
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye. That passes. And thank you, everyone, for being here and being enthusiastic and expanding our envelope. So we really appreciate it.
Madam Chair, one of the main goals, I think, for the arts is that we can provide this type of culture to our citizens of Ogden and bring an introduction to the many talents that we have. But also, one of the other goals of this grant is to have an opportunity of induction of new talent that's out in the community and give them a venue by which they can participate in that aspect. And that adds character to our city by the way that we can introduce new talent and the variety of new talent that we have in our community. So thank you.
I can make a quick comment. I just wanted to listening to all of you coming here and showing so much appreciation for funding these. I feel like I'm the one that needs to show you appreciation for everything you do. You're the ones doing the hard work. And so thank you for your dedication, and thank you for bringing these wonderful things to our community. I'm looking forward to attending as many events as I can. So I just want to commend you and congratulate you for what you're doing. Thank you.
Okay, next on our, you may leave. So next on our agenda item is annexation plan amendments, and I think Mr. Montgomery is going to present that.
Madam Chair and members of the council, the item before you tonight is consideration of amending our general plan, in particular Chapter 8, which deals with land use. The state requires that each community identify where they feel they can expand, and those are called annexation plans. And so when the general plan was adopted back in 2002, we had identified locations that we felt we could expand the city boundaries, provide urban services to those areas. And there were not areas that other communities had also said that they could feel they could expand to. And that's why the plan does that, is so each community knows its limits and boundaries of future growth and development. Well, recently we had been made aware of a couple of situations taking place in two areas in southeast Ogden. The first, and Mr. Galvez has already introduced himself, was introduced by Mr. Galvez, and that is the area that is along Glassman Way in yellow here. This is 4775, 4725. We are south of McCady Hospital. This subdivision, which was the Rolling Oaks subdivision, when it was platted and created these lots for development, there was a gap, evidently, that existed between the city boundary line and the subdivision line. So this line right here is actually where the city limits are. This line is the end of the subdivision. So the individuals who own lots along Glassman Way, actually, their lot goes beyond the city boundaries back to the distance of the subdivision. And then over time, the canal, the Bureau of Reclamation, had excess property and offered for sale excess property to these property owners. So they added the size of their lot by acquiring property that was excess from the Bureau of Reclamation, further going into what was unincorporated Weber County. What that means is that these property owners received two tax notices, one from Ogden City, one from Weber County, because of the properties within and without the boundaries of the city. So as we looked at this, and we had a situation a year or so ago where we did a boundary adjustment with South Ogden City, which is right behind McCady Hospital, where we had an opposite situation. We had parts of South Ogden City lots coming into Ogden City. So the front of the houses were in South Ogden, the back was in Ogden City. We did that adjustment between the two municipalities. This, however, is unincorporated land, and so requires an amendment to our policy declaration of saying we are the entities that can provide service. Now, the Bureau of Reclamation Canal serves that buffer between us and South Ogden, so they really can't provide any services. These all are service off of Glassman Way, which is in Ogden City. So it's important for us to amend our declaration so that annexation could then take place afterwards. So this is a first step to allow these properties all become part of Ogden City rather than being divided by two areas. This is one of the amendments that we're proposing tonight. The other amendment that's being proposed tonight deals with an area near Old Post Road. And I'll show that by this illustration. So Old Post Road is located here. Here's Harrison Boulevard. These areas in red, this property, these properties, and this property, as well as this property, are in the present declaration of Ogden City. We feel that we can provide services to those properties, that municipal services are best done by Ogden City. However, recently, South Ogden City received a petition for this area that's crosshatched to become part of South Ogden City. Again, the yellow here was unincorporated, well, this was unincorporated county, these areas here. South Ogden has amended their declaration to talk about that they can provide services for this property, including that which is in Ogden City, or in the declaration, I should say, not in the city itself, but in our declaration. And the reason that can happen is because this is an elevated hill area, and then the property drops down towards Old Post Road. We presently, our utilities don't go all the way along Old Post Road, and to provide any access or services to this property would be very, very difficult. So we have mentioned that we felt it is appropriate to amend our declaration so that this property could be annexed into South Ogden City, and we would remove it from our declaration. So this is the second amendment that is before you tonight. So we have Area 5 and then Area 6. Area 5 is along Glassman Way. Area 6 is this area along Old Post Road, removing this from our declaration, this area here. So the consideration before you tonight is to make these amendments to our general plan, to this annexation declaration, of saying we can annex properties that are on Glassman, and this property we would take out of our declaration because we don't feel we can service it, this crosshatched area. We would still retain these areas that are still unincorporated county as areas we can service in the future. But this amendment to the declaration sets up an opportunity then for annexations to take place in the future upon petition. So this is the first step that will help resolve some of these boundary issues. And the Planning Commission's recommendation is to approve this.
Does Area 6, when we take that out, does that have an impact into that area at all, or to surrounding areas?
No.
Okay.
Questions? Okay. We may have some coming up.
Yeah.
So now is a time for public hearing. Mr. Galvez?
Well, after considerable consideration, we have decided that that property ought to remain as is. We bought it, I built my property in 1979. I mentioned that I was house number 3. And since that time, we've bought, about 10 years later, we bought from the Bureau of Reclamation for $1,000 a lot. And in the past, we've been getting two statements, tax statements, and we see no problem with that. We've talked to the rest of the neighbors, and they feel that to leave it as it is, it has no ingress or egress, or no benefit to the city at all, and it's just our back door, and we'd like to encourage. I've talked to Greg before on it, and. We just like to leave that just as it is, with the property returning two tax notices.
When
Any questions?
When you say we, who is we?
Neighbors. There's 10 of us.
Okay.
We'll get each one of you to.
Yeah, each one of you can come up.
And I'm confused. I do get 2 tax notices, but I'm pretty sure they both go to Ogden City.
Just real quick, state your name real quick.
I'm sorry, Harleen Martell.
Okay, and you're
I am the last house of Ogden City on Glassman, so I'm on the border.
We're all neighbors here. So, and I represent four of the neighbors. I'm William Hills.
State your name again.
I own.
This Bill.
Yeah, I'm Bill. William Hills. And I represent 4 of them, Harry Amafafano, Bud, and Barry Mitchell, which Bud used to be a council member here a long time ago. But anyway, and Connie Peterson and me, and now Fred. And I don't know if you're for it or not, but I haven't talked to you, but I should have, but Jordan's mom.
Yeah, I don't understand.
They all hang out together.
What the city, why they'd want to change it.
Yeah, Pineview Water owns all the property down below there, and we have no access to it at all. It has to go through there, and we just want to leave it the way it is. It's fine that way, and we want to keep it that way. And I represent 4 of the families there, And there's 5, and now 6. There's only 9, and one of them didn't even buy it. Gene never even bought it. And we want to oppose this thing all the way down the line, and we just don't want it. And by the way, who's our representative? Is it Stevens? Are you our who's our representative on Glassman? There he is, right there. That's who we voted for. You left a thing in my door, but anyway. We just don't want this, and just let it stay the way it is.
Can you explain to me why you would want 2 tax statements, or why you wouldn't want just?
Well, we have to pay 2 tax statements right now. One of them's small, but we know good and well it'd be reassessed, and taxes would go up tremendously.
So that's your concern?
That's our concern, and we just want to leave it the way it is and let us deal the way it is, because that's the main problem why we don't want it, because we know good and well that Ogden City will try to bring that in, and they go by square footage and all that kind of stuff. We know how taxes work, and they never go down, So, and that's one of our main reasons. And we don't want this. And I don't think anyone even on the whole street wants it. So that's our idea. So.
Did we get the name? You're good with that? Everyone's names? Yes? Okay.
Wait, I apologize coming in a little bit
Go
late,
ahead,
but
ma'am.
I would like to understand why the city wants to do this. What's the advantage for you, for the city of Ogden, to do this?
We'll ask that question.
And we'll address that for you in just a moment.
Yep. Any other?
We'll address that too.
Yeah.
Great. So, Mr. Montgomery, if you could follow up with that?
Well, this came about, as Mr. Galvez said, when the South Ogden issue came up, of the South Ogden citizens complaining about having 2 tax notices in South Ogden and Ogden City for their rear yard and then for their front yard. And at the time, Mr. Galvez approached me and said, well, we've got the same situation. We want to get that revised too. And so we took a look at it and said, well, it's a little bit different. We can't just do a boundary adjustment because this is unincorporated county. This isn't another city where we could do a boundary adjustment. And I mentioned that the first step that would have to happen is we'd have to amend the annexation declaration before anything could even be considered, which is what you're doing tonight. And again, the intent at that point is, and as I understood it, and as was explained at the Planning Commission meeting at the public hearing, no one had a concern or objection to it. So this is new to me tonight of the concerns that are raised tonight. Irregardless, or regardless, I guess is the more correct word, this step is only saying that could happen in the future by petition. This sets the groundwork that if someone says, I want all my property in one community rather than a split, and the reason you generally want to have it in one community is sometimes there's just confusion for emergency response. Depending on if it's in another community, you then go to interlocal agreements and other things rather than being first responders to where that is on the property. And so if you have a property divided in 2 areas, sometimes you can get confusion on 911 where they say, well, that's not in Ogden City limits. We won't send Ogden City police. But yet they're the first responders because it's unincorporated county. South Ogden wouldn't respond to it. And so it's just for ease of services of emergency response. What we're suggesting tonight is amending the declaration. It does not annex the properties. They would have to petition to annex in if they wanted to do that. We can't force the annexation if the majority don't want that. But this sets the groundwork by having this document in place that if the future thoughts change as they did from 3 or 4 months ago, then that would now be in place. That could happen without having to go through this first step again.
So it sounds like these people here tonight aren't the same people that came forward 3 or 4 months ago.
No, Mr. Galvez was.
Mr. Galvez was.
Yeah, and Bud Mitchell was there, and 3 or 4 other people from that neighborhood were there also.
Okay.
Mr. Montgomery, will you address property tax assessment?
Well, property tax assessment is done by the county.
Right.
And so you're looking at a single residential lot, and that's what the assessment would be as a single residential lot. Now, when you have two taxing entities, which happens when you have two different boundary lines, for example, Weber County does not collect taxes for Ogden City. They could collect taxes for Weber County School District, not Ogden City School District. So, if you look at it this way, well, part of that lot's paying for Weber County School District, in addition to Ogden City School District, where if it's all in Ogden City, it's only one school district you're paying for. And for services, you pay for unincorporated. We pay for Weber County services no matter whether we're in Ogden City or not. But that's just some of the other things of the different amounts that take place with Central Weber or Weber Basin. Whether you're in the city or other city, there's a Weber County assessment for unincorporated properties that doesn't happen in Ogden City. So it's just balancing out those things. But tax-wise, I don't know if there'd be that much, because again, it's more what can be built on the lot, and this is only a single-family lot, which a home already exists, and that's where the taxes are taking place. Now is on the value of that home on the property, not just the land itself.
And so if we drill down on this, as I understand it, is that would the taxes be increased if we accepted this proposal, or would they stay the same or decrease?
So this proposal tonight does not annex any property. So they still would remain status quo. It'll be up to them if they want to petition to annex their property.
So they get
this only creates the framework that could take place.
They'd get still two tax?
Yeah, this would not change. This would only amends the plan saying we could service this if someone wants to annex into the city.
So in the future, if this were to pass and the properties were to be annexed, then at that point, would the homeowners' taxes be at risk to go up? Would that change in the future?
I don't know how the county would value that back piece of land, because it still would be looked at as one single-family lot.
All we're amending is the plan. We're not annexing any property.
Right. But I don't know how the county would look at that rear piece, because it's not developable.
Because that's the concern we have from our constituents here today. So right.
So if this passed, then each property owner would have to select whether they would want to have one tax notice or two tax notices.
What they would do, if they wanted to move forward with this, is then they'd file a petition to annex into the city. This is only the mechanism to allow them to do that consideration. But this does not annex.
Would some of them annex and some of them wouldn't then?
They wanted to.
That was my next question.
They petitioned. It all depends how they petitioned. With state law, you would need 66% of the property owners in agreement to be able to annex all the properties. So if 2/3 said, okay, we want this all annexed in, then you could require that the 1/3 that didn't want it to come in. But if you don't have that 2/3 vote, or you don't have the 50% property valuation, you couldn't require anyone who doesn't want to be in to come in.
But they could do individually.
But they could do individually. But it's easier if you do it as a group to reduce the cost of annexation and drawing the plat up. But
Do we have, is there any other reason why we'd want to do this besides the fact that you stated that it was a petition from Mr.,
Galvez.
Galvez?
Yeah.
Is there any other reason why besides that?
Just clearing up boundaries. One of the things state law talks about is try to eliminate islands of unincorporated county. And so you have this little island out in the middle of South Ogden and Ogden City that's unincorporated county. And state law says communities should be involved in trying to eliminate those islands, where municipal services can be provided to provide those and eliminate the islands of county.
So this opens the door for them to go ahead with that process. And then step two is a process of requiring that annexation to happen. Is that correct? Is there any other steps after that?
No, and I'd say step 2 is them petitioning, not us requiring them. So this just opens the door that if they want to do that, it's there. If in the future you decide not to do this, and then someone want to do it, then we'd have to come back and do this first before we could consider annexation later.
But the ball is in their court.
The ball is in their court to do it.
They want to move forward or not.
Correct.
But if 66% decides they want to do it, then it's done as a whole piece, right?
You could bring it in. Again, it's going to be what they come together as a petition. And if a petition came in and say we had 8 out of 10 wanting to be annexed in, at that point, I say it seems logical to bring them all in rather than just the 8 of them, because then we, again, don't have that little island of who responds to this emergency call in the backyard, which is not in Ogden City, and to have that kind of confusion take place.
If we're hearing from some constituents here tonight that they don't like these potential change in the future, I'm hearing the concerns and the advantages from the administration to do this. What would be? Is there any kind of advantage to them to do this? I mean, there are fears about increasing taxes, and we can't answer that right now.
Right.
We're saying we don't know. Besides that, I see the benefits to the city. Are there benefits to them in doing this? I mean, I get they're getting 2 tax notices now, but what I'm hearing is that they don't mind that. So, I mean, is there any other benefit besides?
It would only be those situations if there becomes a call for emergency and there starts to become confusion of, well, you're not in the city. I mean, that is a what if. Generally, because the houses are in Ogden City, you probably wouldn't have that problem, but there's always that potential. We've always had on bordering properties who responds to the border call. You know, that's a what if, and generally for a single-family neighborhood, you don't have that much of a problem. It was just an item where we were trying to help clear up a concern of a citizen, and evidently that has changed now.
Thank you.
For this part. The other half of this is something that we do need to do because South Ogden has moved forward to add that to their declaration area, and we should then take it off of ours.
That's Area 6, correct?
Uh-huh.
It sounds like they've gathered together as a neighborhood and met with some people. So what we do tonight, if we move this along tonight, the ball's still in their court. It doesn't mean that it changes anything. It doesn't do anything.
Correct.
It
does not annex property.
It does not annex the property yet until they want to, unless they want to petition and do that.
Correct.
If they do want to move forward with that, not saying they will, would you be the person that they would meet with or talk to, or who would they want to?
So the process for annexation, the process for annexation is that they would actually file a petition, have a plat developed, an annexation plat, and submit that to the city recorder. Okay. And then that goes through a legal process of notification and hearings and that take place. But that'd be under their getting together to do that.
Does that go to the Planning Commission then again?
It goes to the Planning Commission, then comes to you for final action.
That clears it up for me. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, I do have a question or maybe a thought with regards to if they do want to proceed in the future and we don't move forward with Area 5, it will cost them more money because they'll have to go through this Planning Commission process again. And I wonder if maybe we shouldn't open that public hearing again or continue the public hearing and ask them if they would like us to just go ahead and proceed knowing that this does not change their status at this point, and then just get it done that way so that it wouldn't cost anybody more money in the future if they choose to annex in. And I would suggest to the residents that they perhaps contact the county assessor and see what would be the end result of that annexation, and that might calm their fears immensely. So I just suggest that we listen to some of the citizens again after having heard Mr. Montgomery.
I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. I think that'd be perfect. Thank you.
If we did that, would we want to separate these two items out? Because it seems like they're different in structure, where we would have one and then the other aspect of it.
Okay.
There's one other thing.
And I'm sorry, can I get your name again? Sorry.
William Hills.
William Hills.
I own a small construction business, and the thing is, all our taxes go to Ogden City. I mean, $2,500 a year goes to Ogden City. $9 goes for Weber County. So it's not like a huge thing that you have to worry about here. I mean, just leave it alone, because we know good and well once you put that kind of a larger lot in there, it's going to go up more than $9 or $10 that we pay every. Mine's smaller than these guys's, but they have 100 feet in the back there. It's going to go. That much land is going to go way up, and they got to be concerned about it. But in Weber County right now, it's very small. Everything goes to Ogden City. I mean, it's so small. I know it's a check. It's an $8 check, to Weber County, but still everything else goes to Ogden City. So it's not like you guys are losing a big amount of money here. But they would just add more on there, and we know good and well they would consider that property more valuable with that size of a property, and that's one of our concerns. So
Mr. Hills, just to clarify, this item was brought to us. We didn't.
This wasn't city initiated.
We didn't initiate this process. It was our understanding that this was something that the residents wanted.
Yeah.
I think Fred kind of thought it would be a good idea, and after different realizing what was going to happen, and we all discussed it, I think he went against it. And
I'm thinking what we tried to do is clarify the taxes. That's why Chair High or Mr. Heyer suggested, with the Weber County assessor. It's not Ogden City, and when you say all your taxes are going to Ogden City, it's a tax assessment that's.
Yes, we know that tax assessors, what they do. I mean, we know what they do, So if the value goes up, it goes up, because of a larger property, they do it. That's what they do. I mean, and we realize that.
We're just trying to
We
clarify.
just like it the way it is. We don't mind writing a little $10 check, extra for South Ogden or Weber County, or whatever it is there,
And we're not annexing
Right.
any property.
So just to clarify, just so you know, that this is only changing the opportunity for you in the future to come to us to say, we want to annex. At this point,
I think we're going to do that real quick.
and that's what we're trying to clarify
It's
to
going to cost us
you.
more if we want to
Right,
annex sometime.
And down the road.
What about our land down below there? Pineview Water owns that. They're down into 60, 70 feet past our property down there, and that's all Weber. I believe that's also unincorporated Weber County right there. So they're just adding that little strip, so it's not adding, and we don't even have access to that at all because Pineview Water has a gate there. They don't want people going up and down there unless they open the gate for you, which they do once in a while. But anyway.
I don't know about, that part I don't know about. All we're trying to do is give you the opportunity in the future to come and annex. And so we're not starting an annexation process. So
all right. Well,
just wanted to make sure that's clear.
Well, we wanted to kill it in the bud,
Thank you.
That's all.
I do have a question, and you may not know the answer to this, but when I bought my home, this was never divulged. So this is the first I've heard that it was divided between Ogden and Weber, South Ogden. Will that affect me selling the home in the future?
I don't know that answer.
No. Just curious, after hearing what Mr. Montgomery explained, that we're not doing any annexation today, we're just opening the door in the future if you guys decide it's something you want to do. Is that something that you are in support of?
I would prefer to just close it and be done with it, personally. I have no issue with the two tax notices.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Like I said, I had no idea until I got this letter that they were going different places. I had no idea.
The problem we have is that if we vote against this parcel, it will affect the other parcel of ground that we're looking at.
We can separate it out.
Okay. I think it would be more clear if we did that.
Council, Chair White, so the ordinance we can't separate the ordinance tonight. If you want to do that or consider it, it'd be better to continue this action so that we can get 2 ordinances drafted so that there's one for Area 6 and one for Area 7, or sorry, 5.
So would we table that?
We could table it for 2 weeks if that's what you choose to do.
Is that an appropriate time for you, for the other area?
Sure.
Is that something you guys would like to do? Or would
Is
you
there any
like to
more
go forward?
If the petitioner has changed his mind.
Especially if the petitioners change their mind.
And this can allow for some staff-to-staff discussion as well.
Councilmember Heyer, did you hear that?
I did. It sounded like that's perhaps the way to go, and if you'll entertain the motion, I will move that we table proposed resolution 2016-3 for 2 weeks.
Second.
Yeah, so, sorry, we have to close the public hearing first, so.
So moved.
We don't have to close the public hearing when we're leaving the item open.
Okay.
I don't know, hold on.
I think that you should close the public hearing.
So
council has asked us to close the public hearing. I
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, second by Councilmember Gardner. This is a roll call vote.
No voice.
Voice vote.
It's a voice vote. I'm
Aye.
sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Now, let's go on to a motion to table. Go ahead and make your motion.
Okay, I move that we table ordinance 2016-3 for 2 weeks.
And that is
Second.
March 1st.
Will they have to notify the property owners on this, Madam Chair?
If you would like us to provide another notice, we will. It's not required, but if you want to give us that direction, we will provide a notice.
They could probably tell all their neighbors it would be 2 weeks.
So her question was if she needed to come back at all, right? So if they want to come back,
So this,
They're welcome to come back.
There will be
The
a
reason we're
public notice?
separating those two is we don't know what's going to happen with this other area yet. So we'll bring it back. Our option for the other area on Harrison, it seems like we're okay with that. That separating the two and creating 2 ordinances would allow you to take action on that. With this other one, with a separate ordinance, there's a chance we may have to continue that further if there's more information that you all need, or just outright deny. We don't know yet. That's why we want the 2 ordinances. So if you want us to provide another notice on that so people know, we can do that.
Can we do that? Can we direct that you do send the notices so they will know, and then
Absolutely.
that way they'll know whether to come or not?
Yep.
Perfect.
since it may be longer than 2 weeks? Is
Yeah,
that
since this part, yeah, maybe
It will be
longer
on
than
in 2
2
weeks.
We'll be on in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember Lopez to table this action. This is a roll call vote. It's a voice vote. Thank you. It is a voice vote.
At this point.
All right, thank you. It's a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. We'll table that for a 2-week period. Thanks for that, you guys. Next on our agenda is the fiscal year 2016 budget amendment.
Lisa Stout will be presenting that, Chair.
Please don't make this as complicated. I'm just kidding. Make it as complicated as you want.
Thank you, Chair White. Council members, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm here on behalf of administration to discuss an ordinance before you to increase the fiscal year 2016 city budget by $3,150,000. I'm just quickly going to go through what is being appropriated. We are proposing an appropriation in the general fund, a fund balance of $40,000 to do repairs and improvements at the Marshall White Center. This is money that was on deposit with the OCAP. They have returned that deposit. Now we'd like to appropriate it for use at that facility. We are additionally appropriating some money out of the Centennial Trails Fund in the CIP project to the general fund to do a recreations master plan study. That is in the general fund. Additionally, we are appropriating $3 million in WACOG funding in the CIP fund for improvements along North Street between Monroe and Washington Boulevard. We are unappropriating money in the Centennial Trails Fund to be appropriated for transfer to the general fund. And we are appropriating $50,000 in wayfinding sign money that has been granted to the city from the Economic Development Office of the state of Utah. Additionally, we are appropriating a grant to fund equipment in the amount of $10,000 for our fire department. The total amount of the grant, or the appropriation, as I said, is $3,150,000. And we would like to recommend that you approve this ordinance at this time. Do you have any questions regarding this action?
Any questions? Thank you. I would like to close the public, or does anyone want to talk about this? Everyone has left.
Seeing none, Chair White, I'd make a motion that we close public hearing for this agenda item.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nadolski, second by Councilmember Gardner to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
That passes. With that,
With that, Chair White, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2016-4 to amend the budget.
Second.
we have a motion by Councilmember Gardner, or Lopez, and second by Councilmember Gardner to adopt this. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez?
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Garner?
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair?
Aye.
Chair White?
Aye, that passes. Next on our agenda are reports from the administration and the cemetery amendment.
Harry Huffaker will be presenting this.
Madam Chair, members of the council, Mayor Caldwell, Mr. Johnson, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. Talk about our cemetery. Our cemetery ordinance hasn't been updated since 1995, and we found it necessary to look at several housekeeping issues that we felt were appropriate. The overall changes that we're looking at doing to the ordinance are plantings, the maintenance of plantings inside the cemetery, and then an abandonment clause that aligns itself with the state ordinance, with the exception that we'd like a change in section 6-3-3 in regards to vaults. We'd like to strike the word metal or fiberglass from that section and allow it to remain just as concrete.
Any questions? Comments? Seeing none, is there anyone? Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing none, is there anyone public hearing? No, this is not a public hearing. Oh my gosh.
Chair White, I'll make a proposed, or that we'll adopt proposed ordinance 2016-10.
Do we have to mention the amendments to it?
Yes. With, go ahead, Doug.
The amendments of eliminating metal and fiberglass vaults as recorded in the ordinance. Can I make that motion?
And I'll second that.
So there's a motion by Councilmember Stevens with the amendments of 6-3-3 and a second by Councilmember Garner to adopt proposed ordinance to 2016-10. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Lopez?
Aye.
Councilmember Member Nadolski,
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens,
Aye.
Councilmember Garner,
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair,
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes. Next on our agenda item is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding concerns or ideas on any topic. Seeing no movement, we'll move on to comments. Aaron.
She's left, but I would like to publicly thank Diane Stern for the work she's done on that arts committee. She is well outside of her comfort zone. The city works much differently than the university, and I think from the people that got up and expressed their gratitude to her, you can tell she's a really unique person to bring the arts community together. And so I'd like to publicly thank her for the great work that they're doing up there. That'd be it. Thanks.
Council members? I too would like to thank Diane Stern as well. And I think, as we go forward and all the things that we're doing, I think one of the biggest things is trying to figure out how to get the word out. And that's a difficult job for all of us to try to get out. So with that, I don't have any other comments. Anybody else?
Nope, just want to make sure that the mayor got the top 25 tree houses in the U.S. on his list.
That is.
Okay.
We like lists. Like being on lists.
Add it to the list.
The right lists.
Madam Chair, I think you ought to give that website for that
One more time?
survey. Yep.
All right. If you haven't filled out your survey, go to ogdenbrand.ogdencity.com. Fill out your survey. Thank you. I should get a T-shirt and just write that.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Blair and second by Councilmember Nadolski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Fantastic. We will be adjourning into the next room for the work session.